Hi all, how are you all doing? Sorry I'm late. I've got a technical problem. With my MT4. I'm not quite sure what I've done. I've just switched accounts and seem to have blown up my MT4. Let me just switch over, and all my pairs are in the wrong spots. Bear with me a second. Just trying to load some data in. I think we've got data problems. Video's working. It's just the 4-hour dash for some reason has decided to go completely crazy. Afternoon, Fanor, Diamond, Mark. All my everything's in the wrong order. Look, all my pairs are in the wrong order as well. Totally unorganised. We might have to go through the dashboard manually. Oh, here we go. Now we're getting data. If ever you get data issues, this is what you do basically. You just load up each instrument and hit the home key, and that basically loads the data in. Sometimes it takes a while because MT4's got to update. But I've just opened a new account and funded it, a new ECN, and obviously for some reason it's the same broker, but they just can't use the same data, even though it's exactly the same account type. But anyway, one sec, I'm getting there. Talk amongst yourselves for a bit. Hi, Aseni, David. Nearly there. And everything's all in the wrong order, so it's going to take me a while to find everything. New Zealand dollar CAD, where have you gone? There. There we go. Done. Right. We're back. How's everybody's morning been? What's been going on this morning? I've been trying to get this manual done for the new EA. Oh my God, I'm a third of the way through it. Do you know what? It takes me longer to write manuals and record videos than it does to code stuff. Anyway, that's not strictly true. It actually takes a lot longer to code stuff, but yeah, I have to write a lot. So we'll have a quick whiz through everything. News this afternoon. We got PCE at 1:30. So we've had that. We've got Lagarde speaking at 3. Be interesting to see what happens there. Not quite sure what Lagarde's going to come out and talk about, but we'll see. Other news. There's not been anything read this morning to do with anything. So it's just kind of moves continuing from yesterday. Just looking at the oranges, personal income outlays, yeah, blah, blah, blah. No, so there's nothing particularly exciting there. So just kind of market movement today, but there's been quite a lot of it, as you can see. Diamond, quiet morning, been working on code. Yeah. So, yeah, basically the Dixie has not really gone anywhere at all, as you can see. So we had quite a protracted Asian session, and New York literally just popped its head out and is sat down on the Asian lows. So the Dixie hasn't gone anywhere. We've had no US dollar manipulation whatsoever today. We've had nothing on the indices particularly. So the DAX has opened. We had a dip and a pop. So we have actually done a fair bit of movement on the DAX, but nothing sort of catastrophic. It's better to look at the indices on the other broker so we can see the gaps and everything. Got everything's in the wrong spot. So yeah, so basically we came up and did the gap fill from yesterday, which is kind of what I said this morning I was expecting to happen, but I didn't play it because I'm just really unsure at the moment as to what's going to go on with these things. It could sort of shift massively at any second. So yeah, basically good movement there. The US, the Dow popped up, did its gap fill yesterday, and that has kind of moved up, not as far as the DAX. Same thing with the other indices. We've had a bit of an up day in London, but nothing drastic. So I'm expecting and hoping for some decent movement on the open. Gold has come down dramatically. We're saying dramatically. It's come down from obviously where we were, but we've had a down day today. The same thing with oil. Oil's come down as well today, a little bit lower than expected. I've got my stops set on my other account, which is trading oil at the moment, just below this candle here. So if we get a reversal alert, basically, I'm getting out because this should be going up. I was expecting it to go up quicker, and it's not. So yeah, interesting moves. So yeah, it's been a fairly decent morning for intraday price action, but nothing dramatic, nothing as much as we saw yesterday has happened today. We've got quite a few ADR hits, and fairly strong ones as well. We'll have a quick look at these first to start off. Mark spent most of the morning trying to short Aussie dollar. Didn't go well. Yeah, we'll have a look at the Aussies. Everything's in the wrong order. This is going to be a nightmare. Why does it do this? It's so annoying. It's one of the most annoying things. Like when you switch accounts. I run a lot of accounts. I've got lots of accounts doing different things. When you switch accounts, why can't it just leave your symbols list there? If the symbols are the same, like I've got 4 accounts on the same broker, if the symbols are the same, just leave them where they are. Why switch them all around? Anyway, I always moan about brokers. Let me just quickly stick these into some kind of order and then we can whiz through. Otherwise, I'm just going to be hunting through this list. At least if they're not 100% alphabetical, but in a sort of alphabetical, at least I'll be able to know roughly where I've got to go to find stuff. Pound, another pound there. Got a Swissy can go up there. Euro can go somewhere around there. That euro can go somewhere around there. And the New Zealand's can go after the euros. Testing my alphabetical skills now. So yeah, if you spent the morning trying to short the Aussie. Aussie's had another big day, as you can see. Obviously, lots of ADR hits on the Aussie dollars. It's an interesting thing that we've got decent movement on the New Zealand and the Aussie during the London session. There's been an awful lot of that, and obviously yesterday was very similar. So yeah, the Aussies are all pushing at the moment. They will all come down. They will all retract. The Swiss franc, basically, Aussie Swiss obviously is very, very high. CAD Swiss has pushed up very, very high. So again, we've got that weak Swiss franc, whereas we had obviously all the safe haven movement yesterday. Today, it's completely unraveling. So yeah, weak Swissy. But again, that will change. Where's my US dollar Swiss gone? Anybody spot it? Am I going mad? Where's the US dollar Swiss? There. Yeah, I've got it. Where is it? Oh my God. Where's it gone? I'm not going mad, am I? The US dollar Swiss is not in that. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Yeah, so obviously US dollar Swiss hasn't moved as much because we've had obviously no movement on the US dollar. And actually the US dollar has been down. So obviously 2 weak currencies against each other, you get accumulation. So David, New Zealand dollar Swiss on the 4 hour looks interesting, but the franc looks weak. Yeah, at the moment. So it's one of those things at the moment. I think you will get any mean reversion trades working out because we're getting a lot of volatility in the market, but the market seems unsure, and there's no real collapses and massive strong pushes, which is kind of what I was expecting. And the EA again has banked a load. this morning and got itself into some decent positions. My strategy quant EAs have gone tonto again and made loads of money, which is lovely. First set of strategy quant EAs are sitting in 1.6% profit, banked 3.82 today off of that 26% profit yesterday. We got 1,000 banks yesterday in the end, and then we're sitting in some decent profit as well today. So all looking good. But of the other EAs, of the MRA EA, pound US dollar still sitting in. M15 got a couple of positions on, nothing banked there. Trend pullback has banked 0.75%. A little bit of drawdown on that one. So Aussie yen and CAD yen. It's only Aussie yen today. Banked. Where are we there? So that's fairly nice, easy, one shot, straight in, straight up, and nothing banked there. 1.8% drawdown on that one at the moment. So yeah, all been fairly decent this morning, movement wise. Wish those strategy quant EAs were actually running on a live account. Fortunately not. So we'll have a look at all the EAs, the ADRs really. Aussie dollars to start off with. Aussie dollar CAD obviously is pushed up very, very high. The Aussie, we had that movement where we got that nice big profit take move. So if you got into the Aussie, you would have initially got into it there, somewhere around, you would have got in there, wouldn't you, as a first entry? Second entry, you would have got in somewhere around there. So you would already be out of that one. Pushing up again today. Potential here is on H4. We're putting in a multi-day M pattern. So looking good for a basic retest. So we don't want to invalidate that high. Looking for a retest. So this looks good for a short. Aussie dollar is a short. CAD is a short. There's no directional bias on it, but yeah, it looks like a nice entry for a short. We're not quite extended on the 4 hour and on the hourly as well. Not extended, so it's literally you're just taking an ADR reversal here. Lovely hammer going in, shooting star going in at the moment, but look at the size of those wicks. There's been a lot of selling pressure rejected by the buyers, a lot of absorption there, and we're now getting absorption there. Complete indecision. We're stepping in here, so I would say there's more likely that sellers are coming in from here, defending this high. So difficult one. Everything's difficult at the minute. Aussie dollar Swiss, again coming off the highs. We've just done a liquidity run up here. I'm not sure this is a liquidity run. This is just a weak Swiss franc, and we've had a decent Aussie at the moment. So, but again, it's just taken out new highs. Need this really to close below these highs. But look at the state of that. Not quite extended on the 4 hour yet, but that thing has not breathed. Literally has not breathed for 24 hours. So that's going to come down at some point. That's really, really extended on the Swissy, isn't it? Same as we had, look. Massive, massive move on the Swissy, completely undone. Massive, massive move on the Swissy. Not sure we're going to get another completely undone, but we should get a 50% pullback at least. So that looks like a really nice short Aussie Swiss. Aussie yen. Again, yen movement all being undone, and we're just getting tons and tons of huge volume movement in one direction or the other. So, you know, you can just get in. I mean, maybe at the moment, if you wanted to, drop your RSI, and you know, you could try the 21. Oh no, sorry, not the 21. Other way. Try a 7. Just like speed it up. Say drop the RSI and then put the number up. Because these signals, this movement is just so fast up and down. You know, when you're getting into these things, you're going to get much more signals and much more trading opportunities. But it depends how aggressive you really want to be. But at the moment, there's an awful lot of up and down accumulation and just range bound activity, but the ranges are huge. So I think you can still play all these shorts. Afternoon, Gary. GU. We'll have a look at GU, I think. No, we won't. We will. But yeah, so that one obviously is nicely extended as well. Be very careful of these yens at the minute. There's still opportunity for a lot of money to pile into those. But if it obviously does pile into the yens, then you want to be short in it. Aussie New Zealand had a lovely big push up. So as I said, this is what I think is the pullback on the first leg, preparing for a second leg drop. I wanted to see it, as I said this morning, I wanted to see it try and double top this level. This is a really nice level. Didn't quite get to 125. It turned around pretty much as we were in the live room this morning, didn't it? So just hasn't gone anywhere yet. So if you are shorting these Aussies, you just got to wait, really, unfortunately. They just haven't gone anywhere at the moment. Aussie dollar, US dollar. Again, nothing off of the US dollar at the moment. Been a little bit weak this morning. Aussie's been very nice and strong. So again, nice pullback expected on this. This is a lovely pullback on that move. This is a 61.8 retracement. Find my fib. At least I don't move everything else around when you switch. It's actually a bit more than a 61.8. I didn't see that wick there. I was looking at that. So yes, more than a 61.8 retracement. So looks pretty good for a pullback and drop. Obviously, we would expect the US dollar to continue to power up, quite possibly during New York. I was expecting it off of the news, but we didn't get that. Euro odd, in the wrong order. Still tanking, still dead. Unfortunately, the euro and the euro Swiss, don't want to be long in these, really. That's a nice short, though. Euro Swiss, very nice short opportunity on that one. We've hit ADR high. You're just about to get a reversal alert on that short, Euro Swiss. So obviously Euro Swissy is a short. Whoops. What's going on? Chart. There we go. Euro Swiss is a short. We're always shorting the euro, and we've pushed up. So every time you see a pop, short it. So Euro Swiss, very nice. 5-minute reversal. Just about to happen. So if you stick a fib on the move that we've just had, again, just above a 61.8. So a nice deep pullback on that. As soon as the Swissy gets some money coming in, that will just come down at a rate of knots again. The other ones, I'm just not going to go through every single one of these, but the other ones of note are the pound against the Australasians. Pound New Zealand, massive tank on that one, and the pound odd, because obviously we had so much money coming in on the Australasians, so we had a drop in Asia, and obviously they've continued that during during London. So very nicely extended there. I'm not quite sure what, as I said this morning, I'm still not quite sure what's going on with the pound. I've been looking this morning after I came off the live room. I had a quick hunt through the news to see why the pound's weak. I can't find anything really specific. So there's been a lot of talk about bits and pieces, but nothing I can see that really should be weakening the pound to that extent. So I think these are all still good longs on the pound. Pound odd and pound New Zealand, nice opportunities, very nicely extended there. On the hourlies, we've got the pound odd and pound New Zealand, obviously very nicely extended as well. I'm going to have to load data in on all my charts. Look. So yeah, nicely extended, nice wick going in there, hardly any profit take at all on that. You got a lovely support area to aim for, which is just above yesterday's low, or just above yesterday's low. So nice pullback into there. If we are going to continue on a downtrend for the pound, then obviously that will be where we'll bounce from. That will be caused by this big New Zealand strength that we're getting coming through now. So yeah, lots of opportunities on the hourlies as well. So pound CAD, same thing, weakness on the pound. Nice potential double bottom going in on yesterday's low as well. It needs to come back up to here really, I would say. Potentially, the pound should really be coming up. So potentially got a W forming there. We're just starting the second leg of a W. Pound New Zealand recovered, pound odd, they're the same thing. So New Zealand dollar Swiss on the hourlies as well. GHIJKLMN. They go after G Lee. I went to school, promise. New Zealand's. Where's my New Zealand's? New Zealand Swiss. Just coming up to potential double tops. 125 ADR. Again, Swiss franc, incredibly weak. We've just come up and we've got sellers starting to step in there. We need to see how strong that selling pressure is. So good opportunity to probably get down to support here on the pullback. Just got extended, not particularly heavy. So we'll have a look at pound US dollar in a sec as well. And US dollar yen is another one of interest, nicely extended. But looking for longs on the US dollar. So not great there. What's that extended on the 1 hour? No, it's not. I was going to say, that's not extended. Was extended. I didn't have enough data in there. I'm going to have to do a data load on these as well. Nobody's mentioned their RSI dashboards are looking different to mine. If anybody's using an hourly one. Let's just load some data in. Why do brokers do this? They should just automatically load in the last 30 days data across all time frames. Just make life so much easier. Some brokers do, but seems very, very hit and miss. There we go. Done. Right. So there's your 1 hours and 4 hours. We got obviously a lot more lit up, which we didn't have this morning, but it's pretty much the same stuff as we had lit up the day before, I think. But we'll have a quick look at the pound US dollar. So obviously this massive move we had to the downside has now had its pullback. Remember I was saying we were looking for a 38 at least, if not 50, if we were going to continue the push on the US dollar. We haven't had that push continuation so far today. Nothing to say that it won't come in this afternoon when New York opens, which is in 4 minutes. Very shallow pullback on that move. Obviously, we've had a very, very weak pound as well. So you are extended. We were very, very obviously extended. And the pullback has started on that one. Now, the good thing about this is we have broken back above the lows. So resistance didn't hold. Whether or not that turns back into support and gives us another leg up this afternoon will be open to see. But obviously these are both a long bias, but we would expect obviously the US dollar to trump the pound if we are going to get more money flooding in to safe havens. So there's no more news on the sanctions against Russia at the moment, but we may well see some more coming out very shortly as well. Looks like a head and shoulders pattern. Which one were you looking at, Gary? On the pound? Yeah, potentially head and shoulders, bearish head and shoulders forming there. That neckline will be your break. So break of the London lows will potentially be a drop. Although I have to say head and shoulders patterns are the most unreliable out there. You'll see them. When you see a head and shoulders, I've said this before in the live room. You probably heard me, Gary, in saying this. But when you see a head and shoulders, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Yeah, you can spot completed head and shoulders a mile off. Really easy to see. If you go and look through your charts and actually look for head and shoulders that didn't work, so look for that kind of pattern, yeah, right? Look for that sort of pattern. So the best way to do this is to scroll through your charts candle by candle, spot how many of them actually do that. And what it actually looks like is market structure. You will see way more failed head and shoulders than you will completed ones. But the completed ones are the ones which are easy to spot, which is why everybody likes them, because you can go, look at how many head and shoulders, like how many times they work. Nobody ever looks for the ones that fail. You'll find loads of them. I used to trade head and shoulders. I still do. I mean, they still work. And when they work, they really work. And they are, you know, it's just a pullback. It's basically, a lot of the times, it's pullback continuation, and obviously the continuations are very strong because you'll break those lows. But that's a good head and shoulders. If that neckline breaks and we get a close below, could well be absolutely catastrophic drop. And that will be obviously US dollar strength, which is what we're expecting. So but I think about candlestick patterns, and this goes for Elliott wave, for harmonics like your Gartleys, your bats, and your head and shoulders, your cup and handles. All the candlestick patterns have a very high failure rate. But when they work, they're very, very, very effective. You get very big risk reward out of them. I stopped trading them because for me there was too much failure, and it was just despondent. I just became despondent with them. But they work, and there's nothing wrong with them. Any reason to get into the market is a reason to get into the market, isn't it? So, but yeah. But like anything, you take an entry, it works or it doesn't. So looking at all these quickly, because the market's just opened, I just want to, for goodness sake. I just want to quickly see if there's anything catastrophic happening at the open. No, come back to that in a minute. So Euro odd, going to do the 4-hour extensions quickly. Euro odd coming down hard, obviously massively extended. Not really interested in taking that as a long. Against the euro. Euro New Zealand is the same thing as the euro odd, basically. I will rearrange all these. We are at a pretty critical point on this one specifically, but this is mainly because we've had this New Zealand dollar weakness, and obviously the euro is one of the few things. The euro New Zealand is one of the few things that has been going up with the euro yen. So although we are coming back down to what looks like a major support here, this is New Zealand dollar strength, which is expected to continue, and we've got no real reason, unless Lagarde comes out in the next half an hour and says something about the euro, we've got no real reason to start suddenly switching bias long on the euro. So I suspect this is probably not going to hold down here, and we're going to come down and test the lows. So although this is really nicely extended and has got confluence with potential support, if it breaks up and holds up, then it might be a nice stop loss based trade. But I wouldn't want to position trade long against the euro ideally. Although I think the EA has got me into one of these anyway. So I should be monitoring it with very close eyes. Pound odd is the best extension we have at the moment. Shot to bits based on the pound being weak and the Australian being massively long, massively strong. We're almost at 175 ADR. We had massive ADR moves on this and lots of other stuff as well recently, haven't we? So this is really, really shot. If you look at this last move, which is huge at the moment, we've got a lovely confluence here with potential resistance and a nice accumulation, propulsion gap there. So this is looking really nice for a long. Quite when it's going to turn is difficult to tell. It's starting to put in signs of strength at the moment, but that's a really nice, easy trade back up to the 38 at the moment. And obviously, if it does get further extended than what we've got at the moment, we're going to be down below the 20s. When we get down to here, you'll very rarely get into a trade where you'll be more than one or two positions before you're out. So this is ripe at the moment, looking really, really good, pound odd. The pound CAD as well, very extended. We have gone into an accumulation though. So we've had one leg accumulation, two leg accumulation. We're on our third leg. We haven't broken the lows though. So I think possibly this one might have a little bit further to go. And if it does, obviously, you're going to be, again, way, way, way extended on it. But right now it's showing signs of turning at support. So pound CAD potentially looking good for a long. M5 is just about to get a reversal on that one. So that looks good as well. Same with the pound New Zealand. I'd rather take the pound odd than the pound New Zealand at the moment because the New Zealand dollar is a long, more likely to power up than the Australian dollar. So, so I'm just trying to find it now. Pound New Zealand. And again, the same thing here. We've had an accumulation and a drop. But we've had one leg, two legs. This is the third leg, typically 3 legs is where you start to get the pullback. Look how far away we are from the moving average, massively embedded and stuck. So yeah, again, looks really, really good, but obviously be wary of taking both of those at the same time. The pound US dollar, unknown with the US dollar, expecting it to power up, so I'd be looking for shorts on this. Wouldn't really be interested in longing it. If you did get into the long somewhere in that whacking great hammer, you're out already anyway. So it's kind of played out, and I'd kind of leave that one alone for a minute. And US dollar Swiss, obviously. We know we've got a strong US dollar, and we know we've got at the moment a weak Swiss, so I don't want to be shorting the US dollar at the minute. Even if the Swissy does power up, you will likely get a move, but if it doesn't, I've been stuck the wrong side of the US dollar Swiss before. I like it to be very extended, and I want to be trading it in line with COT. I want to be going long on it at the moment. So, right, you said the other, yes. Okay, so let's have a look at the indices. And gold obviously is still coming down. So is oil. So I'm not planning on trading this afternoon. I'm going to give it a rest for today. Again, this month I've kind of done what I want to do, and we're at a point in this invasion at the moment where I just kind of want to keep my powder dry as much as I can. So I'm going to not particularly trade this afternoon. But what I was going to do, sorry, I'm just, why have I got weird things? This is data issue again, isn't it? Oh, no, it's not. Right, it's not a data issue. This is a gap issue. So we are coming up into that gap fill, basically. So looking like a short on this one at the minute on the DAX. So pending orders under the lows and looking for a breakout of the 5-minute range, which we've got put in now. Euro pound, we've just had an ADR hit as well. So DAX, I suspect we will probably try and come down on today. The same thing with the Dow, the S&P, and the NAS. Just purely based off the fact that we've had a nice little push today on these. So we've had the down day. We've had the big sort of further push down and retracement. We seem to be quite nicely hugging the 24, and we've had our up movement already today. So whenever we get a move up in London, we will quite often get the New York sort of drop. So that's why I'm kind of looking for today. We may well sit and go into rotation today. On all the indices, but if we are going to carry on with this catastrophic drop, there's no reason why we can't just put one of those in today as well. So I'll be looking for shorts today. NAS is coming down, obviously, as you can see at the moment. I was planning to, and I've kind of missed the boat now, try out a little strategy on the 5-minute breaks using martingale. Because I've been doing some analysis, but I've kind of missed it because you can probably still do it on this one, actually. Let me just open a new chart. I've been doing some analysis on specifically again on the DAX, not on the other indices. But what I've been looking at is what happens after the 5-minute opening range. And we very rarely get a 5-minute opening range that doesn't get broken out of very, very quickly. Yeah. So you can see the 5-minute opening range here, yeah? And obviously the play I normally do is the initial break and drop of the 5-minute opening range and try and scalp that. Occasionally we get obviously the breakout and then the push up, and then we get this sort of accumulation, but we very rarely get more than between 4 to 6 fake false breakouts basically at the open. So after that 5-minute opening range candle is put in, and I'm going to build and adapt this EA to test this strategy out longer term across all indices and across all their individual opens, is playing a sort of a martingale breakout strategy. So what we tend to find is we get the opening range, and then what we either do is we will break out and have a little false one, and then come back and break out the other direction, and that is the true course of the morning or afternoon, depending what it is. Or we get the straightaway breakout retest and go. Or what we tend to get, let's just pretend this is now the 5-minute opening range, is we get the opening range put in as a large wickie candle, a bit like we had this morning here. And then we sit there and we kind of accumulate for a little bit. And we pop our head out a couple of times, testing, and then it goes. Yeah. So I was doing some calculations based on this, and I built a little EA to extract data at the 5-minute open all the way up to the first 60 minutes, basically, to see what movement happened, which I can plot out. And I worked out that there's not more than 4 to 6 breaks over the last 12 months where we haven't gone within 4 or 6 breaks of this range. So if you think martingale is incredibly dangerous to use, because obviously the size of your lots gets very, very, very big. But with the opening range breakouts on 5 minutes on the DAX, you would take like one long there, one short there, double the size, one long there, double the size, one short there, double the size. So you've taken 1, 2, 3, 4 trades, and usually it's gone by then. Most of the time it's gone after trade 1 or 2, but occasionally it will get up to 4 to 6, and that was what the worst case scenario I found was. So there is an argument for trying a martingale strategy literally just on the 5-minute opening range. So you would literally, it'd be once a day there and once a day there. And obviously the once a day here you would either do on the S&P, the Dow, or the DAX, or the NASDAQ. And you would do the DAX at the Frankfurt Open. So I'm going to build a little EA to test that. And I was going to try and manually trade it this afternoon. Just literally by going in with a sort of a 0.25 when we get the first break. And I've come late, so it hasn't drawn the opening range in. I'm going to draw it in manually. So there's our high, there's our low, there. And on candle close, ideally. I haven't tested this on wick, because obviously that would have been an entry there, which didn't happen because it's on the wick. But on candle close, as long as it doesn't close like that, that's the candle that you would take. And then if it comes back and goes the other way, you would get in twice as big the opposite direction. And the idea being is you just build up that position until it actually decides to go in one direction, and then you bank that profit. And that profit, depending on how many positions you get on, can quite easily be 1%, 2% a day. So I was going to try and manually do this this afternoon, rather. But I've kind of missed the opening moves on those 3. So the DAX has had a nice quiet one. So idea being we would just take basically a short there. I'm going to put big stop losses on these. Let's go with 1,000 and 2,000 for a TP. That's not enough. Just go 2,000. And sort of see if this works. So this is my experiment for the day. Morning, Hamza. Afternoon, even. Got in pound odd, aiming for that 38 retracement level. How long we got left on this candle? A couple of minutes. I'm going to let that candle play out. Aiming for 38 level, pound odd. Yeah, it's a good trade, that. I like that pound odd. I like the pound New Zealand less, but they're both good. The pound odd is the better of the two because obviously the bias on the Australian dollar is short. So that looks good. But this pound's really weak, isn't it? It's not having much fun at the moment, the pound. Nice 3-bar reversal going in on the pound Swiss. Swiss franc strength coming through. potentially. Yeah, big, strong Swissy coming through at the minute. Watch out if you've got any Swissies on. Powering up nicely. US dollars not having a particularly good open. Okay, so I'm just going to take one there. So idea being here is either this 5-minute opening range break works. I've got in a bit early. I've got in a minute ahead of the candle close. But hey, and I haven't got my candle timer on, which I should have. Oh, that's the wrong one. I'll use that. I'll be all right. Okay, so obviously now that candle is retracing. So what we're looking to do is if we break above the high here, I will take a 0.5% long. And if that works out, obviously this trade long is going to way outweigh the trade short that I've just taken. And then obviously if that doesn't work, we break down. But it's rare that you will get an accumulation at the open that is wide enough to hurt you, basically. It will go one way or the other. So, CAD Swiss, nice reversal on M5. Yeah, so the Swissies are all moving nicely. So we got the reversal just before the New York Open there, by the looks of things. Yeah. So again, down here, there's your most obvious potential support if we are going to stop. But if the Swissies powers up, Swissies going to go. Is there no way one can mute the stop loss on the price action toolkit when using the manual button? No. If you're going to do that, you might as well just use those. This is all designed to work on risk. If you haven't got a stop loss, we can't calculate a risk. We can't calculate a lot size. So, no. That's not the point of this. The point of this is as a more of a scalping EA. Stroke toolkit. US dollars coming down, so we may go long indices. Let's see if we can get this break of the London lows held. Just coming down potentially into support for a bounce. I could, I mean, with this, I could put a fixed lot option in as well. The trouble is, if you use fixed lots, you're just you're not using risk properly. That's the whole point of this, is to manage your risk effectively. If you're just going with the same contract size every time, you're not managing your risk, because if you enter with a 0.25 there long lot size, for example, and your stops there, your risk is completely different to if your stops there, isn't it? The whole point is we're managing risk here. We're trying to control our risk. We're trying to trade using risk and reward percentages of our account rather than lots. Which is why I don't condone all these brokers out there that force you to use minis and full contracts on CFDs. What's the point? You might as well go and trade futures if you want to do that. If you're being forced to take one standard lot on an indice, you can't control your risk. You're forced to use 1, 2, 3. That's not risk management. You can't manage your risk properly by taking full size contracts. You need a broker that uses micros, otherwise it's difficult to scalp indices. not impossible, but it's just very difficult to not over leverage yourself, which is the problem with futures. You can very easily over leverage yourself because you're forced to go in with contracts. You can't go in with half a contract. Seem to have stalled out a little bit here. Hamza, I request that one can print stop loss TP according to risk. When one moves the stop loss TP, the lost sizes change dynamically to maintain risk. The lot sizes change dynamically to maintain risk reward. There's indicators out there that will do that for you if you want to do that. This is not a risk calculator, EA. This is a fast in-out buttons. Yeah, there's loads of EAs out there for free that will do exactly what you just said. I've got one here. Yeah, so if I want to sell. This does exactly that. Yeah, I can just drag these around. Whoops. I can drag these around and it will automatically calculate my entry sizes for me. Yeah. There's lots of these things around already. What is missing, and what I've built, is the ability to say I want to get in with X% of my account, long please, and my stop loss is going to be X. Hit the button. This is what this is. This is what's missing. So yeah, you get, there's loads of those out there. Go and find them. There's lots of those already in existence. But what you're talking about is something where you would have to say, right, I now want to get in long. So I'm going to have a button to press to go long, and then I'm going to have to drag this and then drag that, and then it will automatically do this for me. The idea of this is I want to go long and I want my stop placed underneath the last candle, please. Bang, in, done. Don't have to think about anything. That's the difference. And obviously the quick modification. So we've got nice market structure forming on the NAS. Potentially we just pulled back into a bearish market structure. I tried the US 30 yesterday with the toolkit and the execution was fast in out. Yeah, that's the point. I should have called it the fast button EA. It's more to do with price action though. So yeah, I've made some enhancements and bug fixes which were pushed out today. Main one being ATR wasn't calculating properly, and people pointed out to me that on Forex it wasn't taking trades, or it wasn't placing the stop loss and TP based on points. So I had to adjust the logic on that really. But I've added this in as well, offset for price action labels. So you can decide how far away these will appear below and above the candles, because on Forex pairs they were appearing, but they were appearing off the chart because obviously the difference is massive. If you look at the New Zealand dollar yen, that candle there is 131 points, whereas here we're talking 400 points on a candle. So it was just placing the alerts way out of reach. So you can now control how far away from the high or the low of the candle these appear, and you can adjust it per pair as well. So if you want it different on indices, you would have it different. I mean, this is too close. What we should have here is something like 100. And also you're pending on an FX pair. You want that to be like 1 or 2, not 10. So it's all much more configurable basically now. So we've broken back up inside the opening range. Got this nice gap down here, potentially to target at the open as well. Double topped on the NAS. Very difficult to tell after V-shaped recoveries which way you're going to go. It's not made a new high. Just about to get a reversal alert on that. Just had one actually. God, data's really screwed up in this platform now. I might have to install a new MT4. This one's having a mare. So it looks like we're heading for this gap fill across all indices at the minute. NAS has already filled it. Oil started recovering at the open. Gold's not gone anywhere yet. US dollar hasn't managed to break the lows either. So we're not managing to break the lows on London. Euro pound 125 ADR. Strength on the euro. Lagarde is speaking in 3 minutes. We've just had some euro strength come in ahead of Lagarde's speech. So somebody might know something about that. Was the money manager indicator grabbed from the MQL market? No. That one, money manager graphic tool it's called. I've no idea where I got it from. MQL5. Yeah, so it's just I do a Google search for money manager graphic tool. In fact, it's in the file section in Telegram. I'm pretty sure I've put that in the files section in Telegram. Yeah, there you go. It's in the file section in Telegram. So go and grab that, February 21. Naz is making new lows of the session. S&P is coming down to fill that gap. We'll see if we basically get any buyers stepping in here, defending this area. Aussie dollar Swiss RSI high alert. Excellent. So it's just starting to pull back a little bit. We just tested this wick at the moment on the Swissy, but we've got some strength coming through. So hopefully we'll get some Swiss franc strength a bit later on today. What time frame was that on? Right. So just better get a reverse alert on that. Does look like it wants to go short today. If anybody in here's got the EA, the market reversal alerts EA, that is. Nemo is having an issue in Telegram, and I can't find a reason for this either. Where he's getting unknown errors in the logs. From what research I've done, it's a FIFO rule issue where the broker won't allow you to trade in both directions, i.e. you can't hedge with FIFO. But the EA is not trying to take hedges, so I can't replicate the problem. So if anybody's got any, can check their logs. He's put a post in the Telegram group anyway. Just see if we can figure out what that bug is. I'm not sure it's a bug with the EA. I'm thinking it's probably terminal based, but it's an odd one. So if we can crowdsource some help, it'd be great. So we're rejecting this initial move down out the 5-minute range on the DAX at the minute. Very slow open, isn't it? It's known as the best EA ever created. David. What's that? My one? I don't think it is. I'm not sure there's any best EA ever created. Best EA is between your brains. Unfortunately, though, we can't use that 24/7. Until we can obviously clone ourselves, put ourselves into a computer, and then we can just trade 24/7. That would be good. Come on, Elon, you can do it. Sounds like a project for Elon Musk, doesn't it? Eternal life in a computer. There's a film about that. I can't remember what it's called. Somebody puts himself into a PC. So, bit of bullish action coming in on the DAX. Getting buyers stepping in on this propulsion move. Haven't even got there on the Dow yet. Yes, your eyes and your brain are the best EA by far. Right, so pushing up indices again, a little bit of a pullback. So DAX structure is very nice at the moment. So looking for that high not to get broken to maintain bearish structure. It's very, very weak at the minute. This could well be a flag break to the upside potentially. Then the night shift tries to take over. Yes. Still pushing. Hopefully we'll get a direction one way or the other today. Don't want to go into rotation ideally, but had a decent push up today across all indices, so I suspect we're going to get some kind of correction. Sega, that's I don't know if you're in here, but that's very sound advice he's just given in the Telegram group for that person that's having trouble trying to get the EA or having problems with the EA not taking trades. Have you tried turning it off and on again? It does work. Believe me. Restarting MT4 quite often just fixes all your problems. Nothing wrong with MT4, but sometimes it just gets very bloated. Looks like we're trying to break out of this high again. I'm just going to take the indicator off. To clear it up a bit. DAX H1 is up. Yeah, hourly. Oops. But we have just done this gap fill, which is why I'm potentially looking short on it. But if it breaks out the 5-minute highs, I shall long it. At the moment, it's not really got any directional bias. Nothing's got any directional bias at the minute. May have to wait until a little later for some movement. We might get the end of day sell off happening, but I just want to quickly look at the euros and just see if Lagarde is shaking the euro up at all. I'm not quite sure what she's saying, but she was on at 3, so oh no, 2. Huh? I'm sure that said 3 o'clock earlier, didn't it? Maybe I'm going mad. All right, Lagarde's not on. So she was on at 2, which was back here. So it doesn't look like that did anything. We've got weak yen at the moment by the looks of things at the open. It's all very undecided, isn't it? Nima, are you in here, just out of interest? If you are, let me know. Oops, sorry. CAD Swiss M5. Just going to check my EA basically, just to see if I took that trade. So I'm just doing other things while this market's sitting sideways. CAD Swiss H1M5. No, I haven't got any Swissy on there. I'm not trading CAD Swiss at all. Okay, so we've just taken out those highs, but obviously rejected there. So we've got no candle close above the highs. We didn't get a candle close below the lows either. So at the minute, we're stuck in this control candle here. Accumulating, ready for a break. That's another EA idea I've got at the moment, actually, is to do with obviously the range settings in this new EA, so we can see what's happening with the candle ranges. Oops. So if we look at the last 5 minute range here, want to get some data on how long these 5 minute ranges last, because you could easily trade breakout of those levels with martingale as well, potentially. Or some kind of martingale, I don't know. Probably martingale's a little bit too aggressive, but maybe a partial. To see if that would work. A little bit like the hedging EA, hedging market reverse alerts, hedging settings. But strong close above those levels, basically. Anybody else trying to trade this chop today? It's not really doing anything, is it? It's typical Friday. Okay, got good market structure holding on the NAS again. Looking very, very orderly at the moment. Looking for a low. For any of you that just come on and don't know what I'm doing, I'm actually just trying a new little strategy out on the M5 opening range break. Unfortunately, though, we haven't really had any movement, so it's quite slow at the minute. But just take those 15-minute. Currently waiting for it to show clearer direction. Too much chop, yeah. The first hour and a half. In fact, I'm going to do some more testing on that. But the first hour and a half, obviously, usually you've got your high and low in. Then you've got some directional bias. But 5, 15 and 30-minute opening range breaks are typically the ones that will give you the direction for the session. But we've seen quite a lot of this, haven't we, recently? When I've been trading futures, it's taking anything up to an hour for the opening range to establish itself at the minute. It either goes out the gates or it just takes ages. And it seems like today's one of those taking ages days. We've moved sort of below the opening range. Where is the opening range? $87 pips to the downside on the opening range, like nothing. It's less than the opening range candle. A nice indecision on the DAX. Same on the US dollar, nothing, no directional bias. Hammer followed by a shooting star at the minute. Aussie Swiss, we've had the reverse alert on M5. Just retesting at the moment. Same with Aussie CAD. Aussie dollar Swiss on the hourly, we're now above the 30. We looked at that one, didn't we? Pound odd. That double bottom's holding at the minute. See if we can get this. This is nice looking long here on the pound CAD at the minute. Potentially a nice multi-day W reversal. Good resistance level up there. Pound New Zealand. Same thing. 3-bar reversal on the Pound New Zealand being painted. We've still got 40 minutes left on that candle, so long way to go yet, but looking bullish. Yesterday's low being the target. That candle. Okay, we're looking at, we're just going to break, trying to break the opening range high on the DAX. Just having a go at it anyway. Not succeeding at the minute. Good rejection there. Twice. That's twice now we've had to go at those highs and rejected. Lots of sellers coming in. Got lots of volatility coming in at the minute. Let's check the news. That was UOM. That was ages ago. No news. Hamza, an idea for the EA. A weekend cut-off closing time so one does not incur swaps. For which EA? Sorry, I've got two EAs. You're going to confuse me by saying the EA. Do you mean the market reversal alerts EA? Or this one? Are you talking about the auto trading facility on it? Yeah, you could do. I mean, to be honest, the swaps did not affect me at all. When I do have overnight holds, the amount of the swap is so small compared to what you make out of your trades. It's not, doesn't really make a lot of difference, I don't think. But we could have a cut-off time. This candle looks like it wants to go now. Just thinking about it. So I'm just trying to get a reversal alert at yesterday's high on the NAS. That level's holding as well, double topped. The market reverse alerts, EA. The problem with that is it's designed for position trading. You have to hold over the weekend in position trading. You can't close out your positions on a Friday. You just take a loss. Didn't manage to break the 5-minute highs there. Yes, I mean, you can't really do that because what you're saying is if I've got 1.5% in drawdown on Friday. Can you shut my position so I can save the 0.05% swap I might have to pay? Doesn't make good sense, really, to do that. You're not guaranteed. If you set a cutoff, say, of 1 o'clock on a Friday, don't take any trades after 1 o'clock on a Friday, you might miss a really nice opportunity. And it's unlikely you're going to be able to get in or out of those trades within a set period of time. You can't control how long your trades last. The market controls that. I'm going to take it along. Up there. We might be going for the highs. If we're going for the highs, we've got a decent amount of movement up there. Even the change in market coming on Sunday. Bad news over the weekend. Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is you want to close your trades on a Friday, which you can do manually. But you're going to take a loss on some. If I have to close out all my position trades this afternoon, I'm going to take a big loss. Well, I'm not going to take a big loss. I'm just going to take some loss, aren't I? There's no point because Monday they might all play out and go in my favour. If I have to pay a tiny swap for that, it's worth doing. But this weekend, obviously, there is potential for bigger movement over the weekend and gaps on Monday than we normally get. But the market doesn't gap on FX at all, really, anymore. Very, 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 very tiny gaps do we ever get at weekends now, if any. But the swap, obviously, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just the cost of doing business. Commissions and swaps are just something you have to live with. Wow, this is a real slug today, this market. Very, very, very slow open. The US consumer sentiment remains at a decade low on inflation woes. So the University of Michigan sentiment report, which has just been released, is what's classed as a leading indicator and is used by analysts to decide on potential market movements, morning, Neo, afternoon even. And they use it to scorecard their long-short biases. It's come out as obviously everybody's very depressed at the moment, which is not surprising. Inflation's at all-time high. Oil prices are going through the roof, and there's war broken out. Not really going to be happy, are they? Great weekend ahead. You've got a great weekend ahead? I've got nothing planned this weekend. I've got a very, very unplanned weekend, which is nice. I like unplanned weekends because I can do what I like. Might be a odd weekend ahead this weekend. Probably mostly spent watching the news, I think. God, that's boring, isn't it? News and whiskey. Now that's much more interesting. My perfect weekend. Well, not perfect. Some brokers provide swap-free accounts for Muslim clients, IC Markets and XNES. Yeah, there are swap-free brokers out there. I mean, the thing with brokers, you've just got to shop around. There are so many different types of brokers with different offers out there. You just got to be a bit researchy, really, with it. But swaps are so small. Unless you're trading obviously very big contract sizes and you're holding for a very long time, then obviously swaps can become a problem. But the vast majority of your trades are going to play out way faster than the amount of swaps you would incur on them. So just had an alert along on the US market structure has shifted. It's a good example actually of what the market reverse alerts indicator is telling you. Market structure, as I said, was short on that. Yeah. And market structure has now just shifted long. So we've now got a long bias. Couch time. Yes. Couch time, exactly. I've got a cockapoo dog, and unfortunately couch time for me involves being laid on most of the time with bony elbows. So just trying to break out of these highs at the moment. Not having much success. So nice signals there. If you were scalping this, which I'm not at the moment, I'm trying a different strategy this afternoon. But if you're scalping this, obviously entry on the strong close candle, stop below. Another strong close there. So that would have been your entry for your scalp long. I'm not sure if I'm using moving average filter on this. I think I am, yeah, 50. So it's only going to give me long signals, won't give me any short signals. The Fed monetary report in 30 minutes. I don't have any news on my calendar this afternoon. Unless it's yellow, is it? Yeah, it's yellow. Might move it. They may be hanging around for that. Certainly hanging around for something, isn't it? Slow as you like. Okay, US dollar's rejecting these lows at the minute. We've got very strong resistance down here, support down here. Lots of decent wicks to the downside. Lots of buyers buying up down at the lows. So if we get that push on US dollar this afternoon back up into these gaps, we'll probably see weakness in the indices starting to come through, which will obviously push us back down into these gaps that haven't filled on the Dow and the S&P. S&P's just made new highs. So is the Dow. Got divergence on the NAS. So NAS is down. S&P and the Dow are up. Gosh, it's slow. Not sure I can wait for the Fed monetary policy report. I might be asleep by then. Crazy. Has anybody got anything exciting planned for this weekend? Anybody doing any skydiving or rock climbing or wrestling sharks, paddleboarding with hippos? Anything unusual that we might be interested in? Because at the moment, candlesticks are not looking the most interesting thing in the world. Nice movement coming through on the dollar. Wow, FTSE's recovered today. Blimey. That was the biggest drop we've had for quite some time on the FTSE yesterday. Recovered the lot, filled the gap. Didn't see that. I never look at the FTSE. I don't trade the FTSE at all. That was a lovely gap fill. Missed that. Blimey. Which broker do I use? I use Forex at the moment, and I use Axie. But I've also got accounts I use with Pepperstone and IC Markets. Different accounts for different things. But I'm using Robo at the moment. I like to switch it around a bit. I get annoyed with brokers very easily because... and brokers do change their offerings a lot as well. So you come across brokers every now and again. I do a little broker research and come across new ones, or not so much new ones. Come across ones that have sort of changed the way they work. And I came across Robo, and they've got very tight spreads on the DAX, which is what as you can see. I've got no spread really. I've got one point spread, which is nothing on the DAX, and that's why I switched over to them, because I'm doing a lot more scalping on the DAX. But I use lots. I've got accounts with lots of brokers, and I spread my money across many brokers as well, just to keep my risk spread and diversified, basically. Playing pool and drinking beer. Good one, Luke. I've got a pool table downstairs as well, so I can do that at home. I don't even have to go out to do that. It's brilliant. Eating crawfish. Wow. Drinking beer and whiskey. Nice. Crawfish. I think I've got prawns for dinner tonight. My God, this is slow. Market's just been suspended or something. Or was that my MT4? Nope, it's my MT4. Now this is something that I've experienced a couple of times with Robo. Is chart freeze. Which I've had a couple of times. There we go. And it doesn't happen often. It's like once every couple of weeks I spot, you like, well, hang on a minute, everything's stopped. And you just need to rescan the servers, which I don't usually haven't experienced with any other brokers. They've all got their pluses and minuses. You're never going to get one that's amazing, does everything you want. Do run multiple strategies on the same account, or one EA per strategy per account. I run separate strategies on separate accounts. In Texas, Gary, boiled crawfish. Very nice. Don't think we have crawfish over here. So yeah, basically I run... I have different accounts for different things, basically. So I've got 4 different accounts I have the EA on at the moment, running 4 different strategies for market reverse alerts and RSI extensions. And I have a live room account. I have my own personal scalping account. I have my futures account, and I have what I call an investment account or a pension account, which is actually dormant at the moment, which I normally will be using to just run the S&P basically. So up until, when did I turn it off? Whoops. I can't remember when I turned it off. Here, whenever that was. February, 2nd of February, beginning of the month. Yeah, that's about right. So basically, I've been running the S&P long, and I have been for years, just buying it up, basically, buying the dips, and riding it and just adding into positions and taking them out and just building a pot. So I have another account that's done that. Obviously, when this happened, I scaled out. I scaled in, got into a fair bit of drawdown, and scaled back out and shut it down basically. So that's just sitting there at the moment with money in it, not doing anything. In fact, I'm about to get charged account fees on that if I don't actually take some trades, which is annoying. But so yeah, different accounts for different things. That way you can tell what's working and what's not a lot easier. I used to run different accounts for different pairs as well. So I would trade different instruments basically on different accounts. There's lots of ways you can do it. Yeah, so you don't ever think you've got to have one account and do everything in it. It's much better to run multiple accounts because you will have times where certain strategies are working really well and you'll have times where other strategies are not working really well. And you can see the difference between the strategies and you can analyze them and say, right, well, this isn't working well at the moment because of this, rather than having one account as a portfolio where you're looking at it and going, actually, I've not made any money this month. You've had a really good month, but you're never going to get every strategy working the same way every month. So you need to diversify. And the easiest way to do that is to have different accounts. Setting up accounts with Forex, for example, I can just basically go into the back end, press a button, immediately I've got a new account and logins are emailed to me. So I've got 8 accounts at Forex. And just set a new one up, new strategy. Axie, the thing that annoyed me about Axie was every time I needed to open a new account with Axie, I had to fill in a little form to say why I wanted a new account. I was like, well, what's it got to do with you? I'm going to put my money in it. That's all you need to know. And every time I press the buy and sell button, you're going to earn some cash. Is that right? That annoyed me as well about Axie. So I've only got one account there at the moment, active. But yeah, this is doing absolutely nothing. But obviously, you can only really do that if you've got enough money to spread between the accounts, because obviously you need leverage. But that's another reason I only use 500 to 1 leverage brokers, so that I can lodge smaller amounts of money with each broker to split my risk, but still have very large leverage, i.e. pretty much the entire account is leveraged. That's one of the reasons I was with DarwinX for many years. And I left DarwinX a couple of years ago because the new legislations came in with 1 to 30 leverage in the UK, and DarwinX would not let me have any more. They didn't have overseas at the time. I don't know if they have now. And that's when I flipped over to Axie. But yeah, lots of brokers. Eyes on Russian as they claim delegation for negotiations. What's that? So is that negotiations with Ukraine? They're looking to sit around a table. Last I heard, when they were talking to the Ukraine, they were saying, when do you want to surrender? Not do you want to talk? It was, we're ready to accept your surrender whenever you're ready, sort of thing. So that's a good step forward if they are starting to think about actually sitting down and talking. We're getting a little bit of a push on the indices. US dollar's probably coming down. Yeah. Let's see if we can get a decent percentage in the bank on this move. If we can tap those highs, I'm not sure I'll have enough in the bank then. But do you have several live accounts with the same broker or different brokers? Yeah, so was that the question I just answered? No, that was which broker do I use, wasn't it? But yeah, several live accounts with the same broker and different brokers. I think I've just answered that one, haven't I? Spread your risk. I also don't put all my capital in my brokerages either. So I have my capital spread. In fact, I have at the moment got most of my capital in the brokers. But I don't normally. But I'm only doing that because I'm spreading it. Well, I used to have one broker. I used to use Axie solely. And I used to use DarwinX solely. but I would only put 5k of my capital in there just to, in case anything happened to them, then my money's not tied up. I got stung by Alpari during the Swiss franc peg release, and I basically lost my entire trading account. I didn't lose it, I got my money back, but my entire trading account got locked for 3 months because Alpari went bust, so my capital was tied up and I had to get it back out of the FCA. So that's what made me suddenly go, actually, I'm not going to put every penny into the broker. I'm going to put some of it in. And if I start getting into drawdown to a point where I need to top it up, I can top it up. Trade with your broker with enough money that you need to trade with. Don't put, if you've got a 5k account, a 15k account, whatever it is, don't put it all in there. Put 5k in. I've got a 30k. My liquid for trading, position trading, is 30. It's actually 40k now. I've upped it. But you don't trade with all of it. Don't put it all in there. You don't need to. You can always top it up. It's better off in the bank. Actually, at the moment, it's not better off in the bank because it's not earning any interest anyway. So basically, I'm meeting to hand them a modified new map. Oh, right. Yeah. Hello, Ukrainians. This is the new Russia. Is that acceptable? No. Okay. Back to war then. They're not going to give up, the Ukrainians. There's 14 million of them. There's enough of them to put up a big fight. There was a ex-field marshal on the news yesterday in the UK saying to take down a country the size of Ukraine with 40 million people in it, assuming you only get 10% of them wanting to fight, the opposing army would need at least 500,000 troops. And those troops would need to be not spread thin. And he has only got 200,000 at the moment engaged. So he hasn't even got an army big enough at the moment to take Ukraine, from what the analysts are saying. It doesn't mean he hasn't got the army, obviously. It just means at the moment it's not deployed. So this is an initial incursion, but doesn't seem to be the full-scale offensive at the moment. So I think he's just, like you've just said, Hamza, I think he's trying to get them around the table and get them to give up before he does that. I don't know much about war, but that seems to be the current plan. So if you can hear cackling children in the background, it's half term. That's what I have to live with during half term. It's all good fun. So just coming up to the highs on the DAX. S&P is flying through new highs. So is the NAS trying to. The Dow is. So the NAS and the DAX are pretty much working alongside each other at the moment. Trying to get up to those highs. See if we can get a pop out the highs. So when we get here, there's going to be a load of orders sitting there. They will either all get absorbed and the buyers will just pop straight through that and we'll get a nice big propulsion move out the top. And this will be obviously leg 2 accumulation and move up. Or we will get rejection and we'll come slithering back down. You were raised in a war zone. What is happening is incredibly sad. Yeah, it's very sad. We've got friends that are Ukrainian. She went over actually to the Ukraine 5 days ago to get her mum, and not even sure if she's back. So, don't know. War's no good for anybody. Not quite touching the highs yet. I think I picked the wrong day to try this breakout strategy, didn't I? Or this amended breakout strategy, I should say. I kind of need some speed. I'm not getting it today. Right, so we've broken the lows on US dollar. So finally broken out low, which would seem to be that we may well get a little bit more of a push on the indices. We're just coming down into this area of chop on the US dollar. So likely we might find some accumulation here. Next level, 200 ADR to the downside, which I don't think, judging on the initial momentum we've got this morning, or this afternoon rather, we're going to get anywhere near that. So I think we might just have a little bit of a rotation day on our hands, which is dull. This is the only problem with hedging. Once you get into a hedge, you're in it, and you've got to look after it and babysit it and monitor it, which is why I hate it. But I wanted to try it, and I was hoping we're just going to get some movement, but we didn't. So just run that for a little bit. There you go. So the strategy that I'm running here now is the opening range break, basically. Go away. US dollar CAD ADR, that'd be to the downside. So it's the break. So you take that initial break and you go for a percent target. If that doesn't work and you break the high, you take another position long and go for the percent target that way, and vice versa. But you'll see most of the time on the opening range break, so the opening range break low was there. That would have been your target. It always goes from that opening range one way or the other, and there's very few times when that opening range high and low is short-lived. Apart from today, which is obviously because I decided today to give it a go. So there's your opening range break high. So opening range break high there, you got 3 candles out of that one. And then it broke down to the low. So if you hadn't have taken your profit on that trade and you didn't get to your target, your opposing trade when you broke the opening range low would have been here, and you would have got your target on the low. That one would have just gone straight up to target. That one went straight down to target, and so on and so forth. So that's the strategy that I'm playing out at the moment. It's just this, it's typical that I would decide to do it on a Friday afternoon. But anyway, it's great for Dick Cheneys of the world and the like. They will rebuild anything for free, of course. Yes. Still thinking of moving to a desert island. Probably the safest place to be at the moment. 8,000 nuclear warheads poised. Don't know how many the US has. Does anybody know how many the US has got? Current stockpile 3,750. Wow, that's not good. Really? That's not good. Russia's got more nuclear warheads than America. Ouch. Let's just hope they don't use them. There's no news coming in at all. I might call this a day because it's the most boring thing in the world trying to trade this market at the minute. We are literally getting... I shouldn't have really chosen the DAX. I should have chosen one of the US indices at the open, but we missed them because we were doing analysis on stuff. That was my intention, was actually to do this on the NAS this afternoon, which would have been much better because we would have probably got a target out of that. But this one hadn't moved, so I had the opportunity to take it on here, and obviously we are just literally basing sideways. So I'm just going to keep babysitting this one this afternoon, and obviously if we get another breakdown, the play on this today is either going to be we're going to get a break down into this area, which will be where I'll take profit, or we are actually going to like the S&P and the Dow, we are going to put in a little bit more of a push, in which case obviously I'll be able to get out up there. But Gary, that we know of, yeah, with the nukes. Yeah. Isn't there some kind of agreement though with the NATO countries where you have? Are we not meant to declare how many we've got? But Russia obviously couldn't give a monkeys, and it will do what it wants. So, I heard figures of 8,000, 8,500 or something. But Google thinks there's about 4,500, 5,000. Still, that's a lot more than the US has got. What about China? How many they got? I don't think anybody's going to know the answer to that one, are they? China's stockpile of nuclear warheads is in the low 200s. Although other estimates have put them as high as 350. By comparison, the US and Russia are believed to have 5,500 and 6,000 warheads. So Russia's definitely got more. They agreed to limits on how many can be deployed. Oh my God. Yeah, so we can have 6,000, 7,000 nuclear warheads, but we'll only shoot them one at a time. Sometimes this world is just nuts, isn't it? If you can only shoot a few, why not have that many? What's the point? Oh God, now you start going down a rabbit hole on Google, don't you? Now look what I'm reading. Can Russia's nukes reach the UK? Oh dear. Anyway, don't want to get into doom and gloom. It's not going to be a nuclear war, he says, building a bunker under his garden. My wife said that to me last night, actually. She said, do you think we should look at getting a bunker? I was like, if you do go down there, you're not going to come out for about 2 years. Are you sure you can live on canned food for that long? Nah, let's buy a boat instead. We'll sail off into the ocean. That's the safest place to be. On a boat. At least 30 miles offshore. You'll be fine. Yeah, during the collapse of the Soviet Union, I think a few went missing. Yeah, quite possibly. Probably in Ukraine, with any luck. We've just double topped on the DAX. We're getting some rejection coming through on the NAS. And the S&P is rejecting quite hard and quite fast, actually. Yeah, decent double top going in there. Maybe seeing a start of a move back down to the downside. Maybe not. Certainly some volume coming in at the moment. It's time 4 o'clock. This is hourly candles volume coming in. Okay, so moving to the downside. So I'm looking to put a pending. Well, not going to put a pending in, but I'm looking to take a short if we break these lows. There will be no winners in a nuclear war. No, never any winners in a nuke. Not that we've had one, but yeah. As soon as that first button is pressed, as soon as that first nuke goes, you have to retaliate, don't you? Because there's no other option. If Russia presses the button and that leaves, the UK and the US have got however long that takes to happen to make a decision. And if they press that button, they are going to press that button again. And then, well, we're not going to shoot that way. We're going to shoot that way. Won't do that. That would annoy the Americans. But that's it. That's the end, isn't it? That's Terminator. It's just I'm not even sure you'd have time to know much about it, would you? Don't know how long it takes for a nuke to get from A to B, but it can't be that long. Anyway, let's not talk about nuking each other. let's just hope the markets hold up. As long as they're moving, I don't care. If the markets stop, I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to have to get a job. Let's do some fun with the EA while we're waiting for things to happen. Let's not do that. Let's go to the fixed risk. This is a little strategy, or not a strategy, just something I was testing while I was doing testing on the EA, just to see if I could find a decent kind of candlestick pattern strategy to trade. And I was just playing around with it, basically, trying to find a decent sort of stop loss and take profit and kind of optimize for specific candlestick patterns and times of day, which is really good to just muck about with and test. But this was scaling in really aggressively on price action movements, and then trying to get out with a specific target by end of day, which I think was 3% I was using. But yeah, it's pretty good. But obviously you're getting into some fairly decent sizes of position. So if a couple of those go into rotation, I think you're probably going to get chopped to death. So I haven't run this long term. But I was looking at just 0.25% scalping per position. So in and out really, really fast. So hit rate really, really quick, really good. I think I've got the EMA set up, haven't I? I don't think I was using an EMA when I was doing it. But yeah, there's lots of potential. And this is something I haven't investigated at all yet in any detail. So if any of you have got this EA and want to start doing some testing on candlestick patterns and optimization, be interesting to share set files on this, because there's a lot of potential for getting some decent strategies put together. This is just basically everything turned on and being told to scale in when I start winning and get out at 3% a day. Nothing more complex. See, it's not trading because hit target. So what's that? How many days does that run? 21st till 23rd. So 2 days. We generated 5% with an 87% strike rate, 2% drawdown. Not bad, eh? So there's a lot of potential for the EA, obviously for automation, but again, haven't done any long-term testing, so worth looking at. Nice bullish price action coming in at the moment, retesting those highs. So there's the 1.5 hour high gone in. Yeah, so we've just drawn in opening range high 2 for the New York session. So typically when you have your opening range put in, a lot of the time that will be the high of the day or the high or the low of the session. You don't know which. So the idea being whichever of these we break first, the other one will typically be the low of the session or the high of the session. So if this now starts to come down, we will assume that is higher day, double top, and then we're going to put a down day. So the move will be a trend for the afternoon. If this pulls back and breaks that high, we will assume that's low of session, opening range low 2, and we'll be looking for longs. And obviously we're looking for longs at the moment because the trend is up. That was the plan this weekend, actually, was it, Hamza? Yeah, go and play with the EA. Update to the latest version, because I've fixed some bugs with the ATR settings in it. So ATR wasn't working quite correctly for automated trading. So if you were going to use ATR, obviously if you're not going to use ATR, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I say it's not something I've done really in any detail. So the auto trading is the key to this. Auto trading is the scaling in. And exiting quickly from the very limited testing that I did. Getting out fast was the key. I didn't. Yeah, that's in that one. So getting out with like 0.25%, 0.5% on each position, and then looking for like somewhere between 1 to 3% a day. Like I said, if you can get into one trade at the open. Let's test it actually, might as well while we're on, while we're waiting for this to do something. If you look to get out with 1% a day, targeting, let's go for 0.5%. So we need 2 trades basically. That's all we're looking for is 2 trades. There you go, done. Not taking any more trades because we've basically hit target. Yeah, we've done 1%. 10k, we're up to 100. So that's done. So look at that. We opened in Frankfurt, and by an hour and a half into the session, we're done for the day. Go home, 1% in the bank. Day 2. Oh no, sorry, we're in New York now. So we're not even trading New York because we've done today, haven't we? There we go. Not quite. See, we're taking some losses there. We're having to trade the entire London session at the moment. Got into accumulation. That looks like it's going to take some losses. Maybe not. Out in New York. So we had to trade the whole of London, but we're out with 1%. There we go, done for the day. We didn't, how long did that take? 10:45, 45 minutes, done for the day, 1% in the bank. Not going to trade New York. Done. So, pretty nice. 3% netted, 3 days traded, 3% netted, 83% strike rate. 3% drawdown. Again, for those wanting to do prop firm evaluations. Yeah, the last one we did was 2%, wasn't it? 2.8% or something, and we made 5% in 3 days. So if you're going to do FTMO, what do they give you? It's 10%, isn't it? FTMO, 10% target, 10% drawdown, and you've got to do it in 10 days. That seems to work. Well, that's done this week anyway. But again, you need to backtest all of this. And of course, back-tested information is not guaranteed to be what's going to happen in the future. So we're stuck at the moment in this trade still. We haven't gone anywhere. Paint drying is more interesting. But I'll do some testing at some point when I get time. But Hamza, if you want to share your results with me that you do over the weekend, that'd be lovely. But yeah, I will do some back testing on it. I'm not really into 100% automated trading, but scalping's a little bit different because you are literally playing the odds when you're scalping. What are the high and the low lines? These are the opening range high and low for the sessions. So the idea of this EA is for scalping the opens. So you set up your opening ranges. So Frankfurt for me opens at 10 broker time. New York opens at 4:30 broker time. Obviously this is broker time, not UK time. UTC plus 2. And I'm interested in the 5-minute opening range and the 1.5 hour opening range. So the first 5 and the first 90 minutes. And it draws those opening ranges in. So like I just said, once we get a break of those opening ranges, quite often you will find that is the direction for the session. So we've broken opening range high 2. So I'm assuming this is low of the day, or sorry, low of the session, opening range 2. So if we pull back, I'll be looking for long opportunities because this should be low of session. Doesn't always work that way. We could just literally come up here, break back down again, and then slam through there. If that happens, that is going to be open of high of session. So you would take some losses trying to long it, and then you would start having a short bias for the day or for the session. And the 5-minute opening range is just a quick scout for a quick profit, but quite often 5-minute opening range is the range for the day, is the direction for the day as well. So it's just giving you an idea. It's a bit difficult to see because I've got lots drawn on this chart, but it's just giving you an idea of directional bias. Yeah, the market opens with a flurry. Yeah, so we have a slow market, and then we get this big, strong moves where the market is basically, this is where we're going today. The opening ranges are what help you determine which way you should be trading. And obviously, directional bias is the hardest thing to get right. If you get your directional bias wrong, you can really get hurt a lot trying to scalp, because you're trying to, for example, if now I've got a short bias on the day, I'm going to try and mean revert all day. And if this goes into a trend day, I'm stuffed. So I always try and trade in line with the trend and trade in line with market structure when I'm scalping or when I'm trading any low time frame. Because once you start a move in one direction, like you've got these strong closed candles, yeah, once you get a start to move in one direction, there's much more odds of that continuing than there is for it mean reverting once it gets started. Very similar to the way that look at the S&P. Very similar in the way that we get the pullbacks. Yeah, so the trend is long, so you're playing the pullbacks in line with the trend. Every time you get below the 24.72, you're long in it. If you get way below the 72, 9 times out of 10, it's just a deep pullback. This, we've switched to bear market, obviously, at the moment, but the same principle works on all time frames, on hourly, on M5, M15. It's just pullbacks. So the opening range gives you that. Today, it looks like this directional bias. So if we break strongly out of the highs, out of the opening range high, that's typically what will happen. Have you considered putting the previous close on the chart? Well, yesterday's not previous close, no. I probably have in the past. Yeah. But unless I found any reason to keep it, I would have got rid of it. Hamza, yes, you will. Yeah, testing that we're talking about, aren't you? Did extremely well for a fast operation in and out. Candle pattern recognition and scaling in winners is a game changer. Yeah, it's the hardest thing to do, scaling into winners. The strategy that I'm playing here is not a scaling in strategy. It's a hedging strategy, so not scaling into this. But yeah, if you're trading candlesticks, scaling in is yeah, it's what makes your days. And you saw how quickly we got in and out. Gary, it's pretty powerful. That close, previous close. So you're talking about the previous day's close, yeah? There. One down there as well. So it's that one, that one, that one, that one. This is probably not the best time to be looking at this, actually, is it? It probably may not be working at the moment. But yeah, support and resistance. So that's just a double bottom, but that is, what line is that then? That's that close, isn't it? Yes, it closed at that level. See, I'm not sure how you'd use this. If it's going to be used as support and resistance, don't know. I'd need to know what the edges in it really is to. I know people do use closes, and obviously pivots are generated off of closes as well, and a lot of people trade pivots, but pivots are just a variation of ADR, and kind of does the same thing. You'll find there'll be pivot points up here, which everyone's going, oh, look, we're approaching X pivot, 125 ADR. It's all very, like I say, everything you find in Forex is the same. It's all similar stuff. It's all just different ways of looking at the same thing, but it's a critical pivot point. Yeah. Yeah, no, I haven't really investigated the closes in any detail, so I'd be open to look at it, definitely. Very easy to do, but you need to kind of develop a way to trade them. So there's got to be a way to trade these levels. Obviously, they open at those levels most of the time. M15 is probably the best time frame to look at them on. Yeah, nice. That's that one, isn't it? I would suspect. Yeah, so when you're trending, it's a pullback. You'll probably find that these also fall very nicely in line with either a 50 or a 61.8 retracement. That might be a similar thing as well. But yeah, there might be an edge there in line with the opening ranges. I can test it because I can obviously just get the EA to draw those in. And that's the beauty of this is why I love building EAs. For as much as anything, I use them for testing. So I can say, right, what happens after the 90-minute opening range? What happens after the 5-minute opening range? I can get it to draw on the previous closes and extend them all to the right and look at whether or not price actually acts at those. And you can visually see it. It's much you can see what's going on in the market after those periods. We broke the opening range low, bang. Broke the opening range low 2, bang. We broke the opening range high 2, moved up, stayed above it. Yeah, that's the key. Is higher the day is in, higher the day is in, lower the day is in, high of the day is in. By that opening range 2, when you get to that 1.5 hours, those are open. This is this theory is price action theory, which is what's his name? Al Murray, not Al Murray. Al Gore, no, Al. What's his name? The godfather of price action? Al. You know who I'm talking about. It's him. Anyway, it's his theory, and it works. It's true. It's great for directional bias. Made the same amount of money. That's good. But yeah, I'll have a look at that. I'm going to write that down on my pad. This is my pad I have next to me, where I write stuff down to get actioned at some point in the future. Close of day analysis. There you go. It's on my pad. DM me about that in Telegram so that reminds me, because when people DM me in Telegram and I have things to do, I leave them in Telegram so I know I've got to deal with them. So DM me that, Gary, and I'll see if I can incorporate that into a development version of the EA and see if there's a help there. Al Brooks, there you go. Vincent, yeah. Luke, well done. I'm useless. I have been useless for names all my life. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I just can't remember his name. Al. It's Al. Yeah. Anyway, Al. That's one of his strategies, which has been around for a long time. The 90-minute opening range, high and low. It's very well known. A very well known edge. But it takes a lot to trade it as well. You've got to be very, very patient to trade these things. And I'm hoping to develop this over time to add more into it as well, because, as I say, I haven't really even started to explore it. The reason I built it was for these buttons. I added the auto trading in because people were like, will it do it? And I went, yeah, whatever. And now I'm actually looking at it. There's quite a lot of edges you can develop in it, but it needs work. It needs analysing and it needs optimization. So, but for the moment, this is what I'm in it for getting in and out as fast as I can. And I don't really use this because I can see price action, but for people that aren't as trained with their eye or as much chart time and muscle memory in their eyeballs, just having these saying, yeah, these are definitely bullish signals. If you'd taken every single one of these so far today, you'd have got in there, you'd have got in there, you'd have got in there, and you'd have got in there. So you're 4 positions long. Don't know what percentage profit you'd be in, but a nice amount. But me, what I would have done is got out there, probably not taken that because I would have got out on a scalp and then taken that. But I would have only taken it up to there, and I probably would have got out of that as a scratch, to be honest, because that down candle would have scared me out of the position. But then when I saw that bullish engulfing going in, I would have got in again, and I'd be in that trade there. So I would have taken probably that one as a winner, this one as a winner, that one I would have taken probably as a small loss. But the EA isn't me. The EA would have just done what it's told, and it would have milked that. That's the advantage of mechanical trading, obviously. It doesn't use your brain, and therefore you don't get scared out of positions. Right, it's 4:25. I'm going to have to go because I've got a class to go and get to as well. So I'm going to leave it there today. This scalp is kind of above, it's at break even. So what I might do is just, I'll decide what I'm going to do with this, but it's working this trade. So it's probably just going to get up to target and get out with like 0.1%. This was a bit of an experiment this afternoon, which has kind of not really worked because of the speed of market today. But I'm going to let this play out, and if we can get another sort of quarter of an ADR move to the upside, I'll just close that out with a profit. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to get me out automatically with a quarter. Okay, just sent the DM. Cheers, Gary. Right, so I'll be back on Monday. If you can, I would try and get as flat as you can today, just in case. We don't know what's going to happen over the weekend. War doesn't stop at weekends, and there is potential for gaps this weekend on pairs. So you're more likely going to find the gaps are going to be evident on the US, the yen, and the Swiss, potentially the euro as well. So pound, New Zealand, and Aussie and CAD, I think you'll probably be okay with. Potentially there is gap potentials for obviously Monday. The other thing to be aware of as well, I've had an email from one of my brokers today saying that they're extending their margins over the weekend. So at close of business today, the margins are going to increase, which means if you've got a very small account, you could go into a margin call at the weekend and they could shut your positions. So check with your broker as to whether or not they're doing increased margins. ICR, IGR, Axie aren't doing it, I don't think. So I would just check with your brokers, because some of them are increasing margins on some instruments, and I think probably some of them across the board. So you want to be a little bit careful, because you don't want to get margin called just because they decided to increase a margin. They will have emailed you about it, so check. So just be aware of that. Yeah, and I'll be back on Monday, and we'll see how we've got on Monday. And see where the EA is and what we've got banked, and yeah, obviously developments over the weekend with the war and everything. So have a good weekend. It seems like most of us are drinking whiskey and beer and eating food, which is always good to do at the weekends. But I will be back on Monday at 8:30, and we'll see how we're getting on then. And yeah, I'll have a plan in place to do a bit more scalping next week. Hopefully, with the markets being a little bit more settled, fingers crossed. And obviously, it's new month. So Monday's the last day of February, and then we're into a new month of March. So end of the first quarter. All right. So have a good weekend. And if you need anything, coming to the Telegram group, I will be in there. I'm always hovering around there in the weekends. And otherwise, I will see you Monday. So have a good one.